welcome to this month's edition of What's Your Plan? At Assisting Hands, we each month try to talk to an industry expert or someone who has something valuable and important to share to help our seniors and our senior community. So Assisting Hands, what do we do? We're a home care company. So we work with families to provide a little extra assistance at home, whether home is a hotel because they're having some surgery and they don't want to go home right away, or whether it's their home, their apartment, assisted living, rehabs, wherever someone is and they need a little extra support. We work with people of all ages, from our youngest client is age 9, our oldest is 104. And so somewhere in there we serve people, and we do long-term cases, short-term cases. But it's not about us today. Today, it's really much more about empowering the ages and Leah Bradley. And they have some great educational programs that we would really love to hear about. We think they're super valuable for seniors as well as the recipients of the program. So Leah, it's all yours.
Thank you. And thank you so much for having me today. I'm Leah Bradley, and I'm the Executive Director of Empowering the Ages. I am a licensed social worker, and I have been doing intergenerational work for over 20 years, really focused on how to effectively and meaningfully connect older and younger generations. I firmly believe that those connections make a difference, not only in the lives of the people that are being directly affected, but in the larger community. And so you'll see as I talk a little bit about Empowering the Ages that we as an agency feel very, very strongly that everybody has something to give, and it doesn't matter what age they are. So our mission is to strengthen social emotional well-being, provide life skills, and create connections across generations so that older and younger people have a sense of belonging and purpose. We believe that all communities should have generations contributing to each other's well-being, connection, and make sure that all individuals of all ages are valued for their unique skills and perspectives. We at Empowering the Ages come at it with this very strength-based approach. So we are looking at what does everybody have to bring to the table to benefit from whatever the situation may be. So Steve, I hope that's helpful. That's just a little bit about me and the organization.
So let me ask you a couple of specific questions. So I'm on the board of Potomac Community Village, which is a village of neighbors helping neighbors. And we have a lot of folks that joined because they were looking for opportunities to volunteer to serve others. So how can they do it? How can they work in your program to be a volunteer?
Absolutely. We welcome everyone. Our volunteers are all age 50 and over. And so most of the village networks fall within that kind of age category for sure. I see up on the screen, you'll have the email and the phone number to reach out. But basically, we offer opportunities in the areas of school readiness, civic engagement, and workforce development to volunteer with us. We're looking for adults who want to connect with younger folks and connect to their community, as well as connect to each other. So we have some very specific programs. Some are longer term, some are shorter term, but very, very specific. We are looking for volunteers right now to work with pre-K and Head Start students and their families to get them school ready. And so those volunteers will build a relationship with a 4-year-old and their caregiver, where they are weekly doing Zooms with the kids. And I know it sounds crazy, but yes, it actually works to do Zoom with 4-year-olds. And they read books and they do art projects and they do a lot of early literacy at home. It's a program that we are heading into our 4th year, And we have a very dedicated group of volunteers that are really committed to this work. And so we are looking for some more volunteers that are interested. So we can be reached at volunteer@empoweringtheages.org or ETA@empoweringtheages.org. We also, on the very, very opposite age of the youth spectrum, have opportunities for workforce development with teenagers. So we have programs that are focused on high school students doing some financial literacy, resume building, interviewing, as well as some opportunities to do some job coaching with some teenagers that are employed already and are looking to improve their skills. So we have a lot of different opportunities to work with both the really little ones as well as the high schoolers. And you'll see some pictures going across the screen, right? This one right here, and the other one is our Connections program, our little pre-K. This is a volunteer. Oh, there was a volunteer there that was doing journaling. And these are some of the high school programs working with high schoolers.
Are they in-person programs or Zoom or a mix of both?
The majority are now in person, but our pre-K program is majority by Zoom, with just 2 programs in person during the pre-K year. And then our volunteers, most of them follow the kids up to kindergarten, and there's 2 in-person programs that year.
And so let's say, oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, really important, Steve, as we think about the benefits to volunteers, all of our programs are very supportive of our volunteers. We want to make sure that our volunteers feel appreciated, know how grateful we are for their hard work, but also feel nurtured along the way. So we build in opportunities for volunteer socials to meet current volunteers, meet prospective volunteers, meet the staff, but also we build in opportunities to train volunteers and have ongoing conversations with one another to really build a social network of people that are committed to the same things that you may be.
Okay, so if let's say, we'll use me as an example. I'm over the age of 50, just a tad. And then, so I've been a lawyer for 25 years. I'm an entrepreneur. I've started a company. And let's say I want to just talk to people about job coaching or about, whatever they might be interested in. How would I get started? Obviously, I send you all an email or call, say who I am. But what's the next steps? What's the process?
So the process is you'll be asked to complete a form that's on our website, if you haven't done that already, and it's under the volunteer tab on our website. And then that information goes to our volunteer coordinator on the Empowering the Ages staff. That individual will reach out to you and will connect with you one-on-one, have a conversation, get a better sense of what type of volunteering you're interested in doing, which of our current initiatives that are looking for volunteers may be the right fit for you, and what we might have coming in the future if none of the current opportunities are there for you. Assuming you find one you like and it has room available, you will then be sent over to the program coordinator, who will get in touch with you, and that person will say, all right, Steve, this is exactly the training that you need to get ready to go. Here are the dates for your calendar. Answer any questions you have and get you rolling so that you're able to volunteer with us.
Okay.
We do a background check. I'm sorry?
Let me stop you. How much training is required? Is it an hour-long class? Is it multiple hours?
Great question. It really depends on the program.
Okay.
So all of our volunteers are encouraged to go to a diversity, equity, and inclusion training once a year, as well as an empathy training once a year. In addition to that, then we have program-specific training. So for the job coach training, that's very short in the beginning and then ongoing as the year goes on to provide support, whereas the pre-K is a little heavier in the beginning and then ongoing because we're helping teach reading. So it's very program specific.
Gotcha. Okay, so I didn't mean to interrupt, but the next step is a criminal background check, it sounds like.
Yes, we do background checks as we're working with youth. So we do have to do that on all of our volunteers. And then just depending on if the partner that we're working with has any specific requirements of volunteers, there may be another type of training. But on our end, we do the background check immediately, and then we get everybody up and running.
Okay, so it's not a fingerprint background check. It's
It's
you
not a
run the
fingerprint.
background. It's a standard background check.
Right, that can all be done online. There have been a few programs. For instance, we did an after-school program with a partner last year in an apartment building, and fingerprinting was required. But you know, we pay for that. We don't ask our volunteers to pay for their own background checks or fingerprinting.
And so, and where do the volunteer work actually happen? Is it all over the place? Is it in a classroom setting, in a someone's home? Where does it happen, or is it all of the above?
All of the above, because it's never in someone's home, but it could be in, as I said, we were in a community room in an apartment building last year. Sometimes it is in a school setting. We'll be at a high school this year for the job coaching after school. It's also in 6 different high schools around the county. So it really depends on the program, but our volunteers are never alone with students. Everything is in either a group setting or done online.
Okay.
And we are geographically all over the county. We work with students and facilities down in Tacoma Park, up through Germantown, and east to west also.
Gotcha. And what's the time commitment? Again, it probably depends on the program you're in, but what's the range of time commitment that a volunteer would be expected to give?
So it ranges from about 1 hour a week for 7 weeks to complete a whole program, to a half an hour a week over a 2-year period for our pre-K Head Start. So it's quite the range on a weekly basis, though. It's not more than an hour.
Gotcha. And they typically are around a 7-week time frame.
Correct. Majority of our programs are 6 to 7 weeks.
Okay.
Total.
So I know a lot of seniors I know, they like to volunteer, but they also like to travel.
Mm-hmm.
So is there a flexibility that somebody wants to go, take a month away, or are they committed to that 7-week block and they got to arrange their time frame? Or again, does it depend on what they're doing?
We expect that everybody who wants to volunteer has a lot going on in their lives. We know volunteers are usually the busiest people because they're volunteering for a lot of places. So we expect that there will be days that people are not able to attend, whether it's a scheduled travel or doctor's appointment or life happening and an emergency coming up. We know that's going to happen, and we're very supportive of the volunteers when something happens in their lives. We just ask for communication around it.
Okay. And is your program really work with what I'll call only neurotypical folks, or is it folks with disabilities as well that might be that a volunteer might work with?
So in terms of the students, there are a range of abilities, absolutely. It just depends on the program. And then also in terms of the adults, we work with more active adults all the way through some of our programs. We're working with folks in nursing homes or assisted living communities. So we're able to create programs based on the abilities, the capabilities of those that are involved in a particular program. And that is really important to us. As I stated in the beginning, we are fully a strength-based approach organization, and we believe everybody has something to offer. And so we shape all of our programs around those who are involved.
Gotcha. And how is it all funded? I mean, do people pay for your services? Is it through grants? How does that work?
Our whole organization is funded through grants and foundations, as well as some partnership collaborations. So we have some program service fees, but we do not ask our volunteers or our youth participants to contribute. We are grateful for any donations they give to the overall organization, but they never need to pay to be a part of a program that we're running. And I know that I had said that I'd mentioned some of the volunteer benefits while I'm on,
Yeah.
and that's a lot of why we run an organization that's really based on the importance of volunteers, because we know there's a lot of positive benefits, both socially as well as physically and emotionally for volunteers, especially as folks age. And so statistically, we know that there's research out there that says there's a lower risk of early death, improved physical ability, improved sense of well-being, better thinking skills, lessened symptoms of chronic pain, reduced risk of heart disease, and improved mental health. That's what the research says, and we totally believe it. While we are not doing an evaluation of that type, we hear stories about how nice it is to be active or be limber enough to get on the floor or do yoga when we're having a group activity with 4-year-olds. I also have been told that those who volunteer with kids are also more likely to lose some weight because of being so active when they're running around with kids. I can't prove that one though. But one of the areas that we really focus on is the social piece of it, and just the importance as folks get older that they have relationships with peers of shared interests. A lot changes as people age, as we all know, and it can be harder to meet people that you feel connected to, that you feel like you have anything in common with. So Steve, you mentioned your local village, which is great, and I absolutely support all of the villages. And that's just one great example of the need to connect with folks that live near you, that are similar to you. But volunteering does that also. It also allows you to have a commitment to your community. And that can be really important as folks say, well, I don't know if I want to continue to live here. I don't have kids in the school system anymore. And it can be very expensive to live in Montgomery County, whatever it may be. When folks are really committed to their community, they feel a connection, they also find more reason to stay where they are. And that can be really important to folks who don't want to necessarily make a change, but at the same time, they need reason to stay and feel invested. So we definitely believe that working with adults age 50 and over is just such a valuable experience for them as well as for the entire community.
Gotcha. And do you have any programs that particularly would focus on any of the underserved populations in the county? I mean, it's amazing to me how large the county is and how diverse it is. And you know, there are so many pockets where, because it's not in downtown Bethesda or downtown Silver Spring, people don't get the same benefits. And so are there any programs where you serve sort of the outliers or the underserved communities in the county?
In terms of our students, the majority of students that we're involved with are typically under-resourced in terms of some of the schools they may be in that aren't able to provide some of the extra services that students would benefit from. And majority of them are in Title I schools, that we're mostly in impacted communities for the youth. As for the adults we work with, we welcome folks from all around the county and all types of backgrounds. And so we definitely have a large range of folks coming from both generations that we're able to support with our work.
And do you look for volunteers that are multilingual, or is this really, let's go with English as a way to go, or do you have, other language skills needed for some?
We absolutely are always looking for multiple languages. We have some bilingual volunteers with Spanish, which we utilize as much as we can with our pre-K program, and we're always looking for more folks who are bilingual. But we have had some families that would also benefit from volunteers who speak Amharic. And so we are constantly looking for volunteers that can come with all types of abilities, and language is definitely one of those.
Gotcha. Okay. And tell me about some of the social programs for the volunteers.
Sure, we periodically have volunteer socials, and we're actually having one next week. So if anyone goes onto our website when this airs, they can find out or email us at volunteer@empoweringtheages.org, where it's just a very informal opportunity to chat with current volunteers, other prospective volunteers, as well as our staff. So we do those on a regular basis. We have other opportunities whenever we have an agency-wide fundraiser. We have a pickleball fundraiser coming up in November. We have an opportunity for volunteers to attend and get to know each other. We really work to offer volunteers an opportunity to socialize, not only through us, but also get to know each other. We know some of our volunteers are meeting regularly for coffee, because they've built this foundation through our work. And so we really encourage that on an individual basis also.
Right. All right. So is there any question that I am failing to ask that you think we need to know?
I can't think of any question that you've failed to ask. I would just say that I would encourage everyone to reach out, because we can find a place for individuals who have a wealth of experience and expertise to really have a meaningful connection. And that there are just so many incredible ways in this county to make a difference. And I'm really just thrilled to be able to be here and showcase some of those ways from the intergenerational point of view, because I do believe it's just so important to understand perspectives and stories of different generations, knowing just how different growing up can be from year to year, and really learning from one another. And so that's what we hope we're doing and fostering through all of our different programming.
Right. Well, it is interesting because sort of in the world of home care, we're meeting people, sort of after they've retired, maybe towards the end of their life. But when you talk to them, they've had rich, fabulous, meaningful, interesting lives. And they're in their homes. They don't get to showcase what they did in their world. And we have people that were painters, that are admirals, that are engineers, scientists, diplomats, and the stories that they can share with our caregivers and we get to hear about is just amazing. And we're so honored to be able to care for them. And I feel like, God, if there's a way that they can share their stories with others, and boom, here you are, a way to share their stories, because they can come and talk to folks and volunteer and provide them an outlet to share all the great things they've done. Because people, you never know what your career path will take until you hear all the crazy and interesting things people have done in their lives.
It's so true. And I would just build on that and say that with one of our programs, what really sticks out to me is we were having a conversation with some adults and teenagers. And one of the teenagers said to me at the end that he didn't think he would like this program, but he didn't realize how wonderful it was to talk to someone who wasn't telling him what to do, and someone who was providing him unconditional support, told about their own life, but also just wanted to hear about his life and listen without any judgment. And it struck me how much we all need that. It doesn't matter how old we are. We want to share what we have, and we want to be heard without judgment. And I think a lot of the intergenerational programs achieve that.
Okay, so in the last probably minute or two we have, what's on tap for the future for you all? Where do you want to be a year from now in terms of what you're doing and the people you're impacting?
We want to keep expanding our work. We're going to stick to our areas of school readiness, workforce development, and civic engagement, but we want to expand. We want to be able to impact the lives of more folks of all ages in a few years from now. So we're going to keep growing one program at a time. And we can only do that with the support of volunteers. So whether it's Steve, your village wants us to come out and talk, or anyone else who's watching, reach out. We'd love to speak to folks and grow our programs through increasing our volunteer base.
Excellent. Excellent. So I think we've answered the questions that were in the chat. I don't know if anyone has any specific questions. Otherwise, if you have any final words, Leah, I will wrap it up. So what do you got? Anything final?
Just thank you so much for having me. And I hope I'm able to connect with folks in your network.
Great. Well, thank you for joining. So this has been another monthly event for What's Your Plan from Assisting Hands Home Care. And we really thank Leah for coming and sharing her time and the great work that her program is doing to help engage seniors, because you're so right. If you know, it is true, if you don't use your mind, you lose it, just like your muscles. And so having an opportunity to engage and be a part of the community again, I think really matters. And so thank you for the great work you're doing. It really does make a difference. And hopefully we can find some volunteers in our senior community to bring your way.
Fantastic. Thank you for having me.